come up as a subject. I mean, if you have somebody in your life who's an atheist, befriend them, love them, show them Christ's love. Okay? You don't have to talk about the Bible, you don't have to talk about the catechism, and eventually all that will start melting. Offer masses for them.
Yeah, pray for
I
them.
do love those things, okay, but I think like, and that's probably why so many people respond as being evangelization, is because they still think of it as the apologetics and evangelization for a lot of people are synonymous.
Right. Then we need to do a better job of educating people
Exactly.
with evangelization.
So when you reached
That's
out and said
right.
you'd take Cahudac to daily mass, that's a form of evangelization.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's the service part of it. Evangelization can be service as well as words.
You know, David, being with you in a couple of events and everything like that, your aura alone evangelizes to other people. Just so you know, a lot of people look at you and say, that's a pretty holy guy. Not holy, but you know what I mean? Like, they see God in you, you know what I mean?
And we don't always know who we're called to evangelize to anyway. You know, the atheist that we encounter may not be the person that we personally call to evangelize to. Sometimes the most difficult people to evangelize to are the people that we encounter in our daily lives. I mean, like family members. We may not be the person to evangelize to a family member. So then maybe our prayer needs to be, Lord, if I'm not meant to be the instrument to draw him into the church, then place the person in his life who he needs to be that instrument.
Yeah, because it is family for me. I mean, it's truly family.
I understand.
Daughter and kids.
I got a couple of those in my family too. I think we go around the horn and everybody would be able to say that. And you know, it's like St. Paul talks about in one of his epistles that, you know, he even goes to the extent of one time in one of the epistles he says he would go to hell for his Jewish brothers and sisters because he loves Christ so much that he wants them to have Christ too, that he's willing to do that. That's the pain that we feel when we have family members, because you've already had a taste of the joy, right? And you just got to persevere.
Let's let Charles Warren have something. I mean,
That was subtle. I want to read a little bit out of this book. And this is a little depressing, but it really ties into the conclusion. More than 70% of American Catholics don't attend church on Sunday. Only 17% attend every Sunday. Engagement among those who do come to church is marginal at best. Young people in particular are leaving the church at a frightening pace, and they are not returning later in life. Among young adults between the ages of 20 and 30, less than 15% attend Mass on any given Sunday. We have told ourselves they will come back when they get married and have children, get the children baptized, of course, but they are not coming back. The number of Catholic weddings each year in America has decreased by 60,000 over the past 4 decades, even though the number of Catholics has increased by more than 16 million during the same period. We have closed more than 3,000 parishes in the past 20 years. We have closed a Catholic school in the United States every 4 days for 20 years. Vocations are rising, but are still insufficient. 10 short years from now, as many as 50% of American parishes will not have a resident priest. Many parishes and whole dioceses are in serious financial trouble. We are failing to speak to the real issues of people's lives. The average Catholic, and this has already been mentioned, has an elementary understanding of the faith. Many Catholics are ashamed to be Catholics. All of these are interrelated. There's a word here called kaizen. Does anybody know what that is? Kaizen. Anybody ever heard of it? It's a Japanese word, like Mitsubishi and Honda and that type of thing. And that term is continuous improvement. That's what the Japanese do best. They're not good at invention. Americans are good at invention. But the Japanese are good at constantly improving and refining what they can do. are you gonna be a dynamic Catholic? The payoff, if we can get from 7% to 8%, is that we can start to stem the tide of what has been happening in the Catholic Church in the United States. So, what's in your spiritual wallet? Well, you've already got the Joe Catholic Iron card. Do you have the Catholic card? Or do you have the Platinum Dynamic Catholic card? It's your decision to make. I hope that the Catholic Church never becomes a relic in the United States. Now here's the Latin. All right, what's the last one, Lyndon?
You want me to lead the right-hand side or the left-hand side?
Whichever you're comfortable with.
Well, I think that one of the points you're making is that, and I like to focus a lot on the early church.
Mhm.
How do they, how did life after Christ?
Yes.
And there's nothing new. We have some of the same challenges today that the early disciples had, I mean, over 2,000 years ago. We're still building the church today, just like they were building the church after Christ's ascension.